What's up, Snoogms?
Tired.
Yeah.
Yeah, so don't hold it against me if it takes me a while to form sentences.
Oh, you're good, man.
Are you happy with the Dissidence test?
So I have spent the last 2 months or so working on a new combat system, and I've only been involved with this release for the past 2 weeks or so.
Oh, well, tell us more.
Bunch of stuff just that I've been working on is I'm putting out fires and doing balance tests, and it's just I'm now the team lead for 2 teams, both the prototype team and the lore team, and then the Dissidence. So it's been a challenge, shall we say, the past 2 weeks.
Yeah. I thought it was funny when you said, "Oh wait, the Alliance like icons are in." You know, like I didn't even realize yet. And they're like, "How?" And then I mean, this makes a lot more sense. You know.
Yes.
So many other things going on. I couldn't find any 3 large moon clusters that weren't maybe on NPC.
We found a 4 large moon cluster though.
yeah, but it's
well, that's fine.
Yeah. He asked for 3s. You weren't gonna tell him about that. But it's also technically in the exclusion zone. I don't know if you can build outposts there, but we might be able to fortress capture it. But we'll see.
You shouldn't be able to build anything in exclusion zones.
Shouldn't. Right, but that's.
We heard those words too many times.
What we're gonna do is
fortress walking is probably not gonna be a problem.
Oh, my camera died.
We'll somehow turn a fob into a heavy ship assembly.
There are some crazy prospecting spots on this map. It's absolutely bonkers.
Having finished Dead Zone, I am now going to survey this map for the first time. I'm very excited.
Oh, how'd that go?
The server finished 9 minutes before it was supposed to, so there was a bit of a riot.
Yikes.
But I came second again. I've now come second every week, and I'm sitting at second on the seasonal leaderboards.
The reason is only because Jackish and I were fighting from like minute 1 on. It was so bad.
Oh, this was actually a really good server, because Marcos and Jackish, the people who were in the lead on seasonal leaderboards, spawned next to each other and fought each other the whole server. Bastion spawned next to me, said he'd be my ally, then just started attacking. Ancienter, who won, was apparently fighting people non-stop the entire time as well.
Like an hour out, the first place had 200 points. Usually at that point you're at like 350, 400 points already.
Mm-hmm.
So this server was bad. It was a bloodbath.
It was good. It was a bloodbath.
So something I've seen for the Dissidence server is that we're down to 24 points again per node instead of 25. Is that overlooked or?
Please.
Please.
Oh, for fuck's sakes.
Come on, please.
If you-
25.
So I'm thinking that this is just overlooked.
Take
It's
it.
not overlooked. It's just I don't want to.
Snoogms.
Oh my.
Snoogms, I swear to
20.
God.
Here's one thing, guys. Let's
bro.
say that we get these beautiful
Quick
round numbers
math.
for this server, right?
Yes.
And then I need to decrease the output on the map by 15%.
No, you
it.
don't.
Then I have to go through everything everywhere. Like,
The 6%
Why wouldn't you
burst of
just
passive
Nick,
is
why
the
is this a
best
problem?
change.
We have the survey tool. Like, why is this even an
When we
issue?
talk
Like,
to
why
each
does this
other.
matter to you?
Don't you like round numbers?
So if you say
Yeah, but so am I not allowed to use 7 speed or 23 firepower? Like, what's up?
That's
What's going on
fine.
here?
that's fine, but we're
That's
talking
fine.
It's
It's fine over there, but
723.
it's not on the map.
How much
It's-
is 723 divided by 24?
Ah,
Now 725 divided by 25, you can immediately get to by saying 4 for every 100. So 4 times 7 is 28 plus
divide that
29.
by 60 minutes.
No, but it's still 29. So, this is gonna be a cool compromise for you. Don't even show us how much the value is, and give us small, medium, large, and do them 1, 2, 3 points, and that way we can talk in 1, 2, 3s.
This just isn't.
That's what
an
we
issue.
do.
Like, I'm not playing.
It is
There's
when you're
just
playing.
no
though.
way
25
it's
is
an
just
issue.
much more
Ultimately-
relatable.
Because
Yeah, the
now we have
resources
talking
matter
points again.
less to us than the actual
Yes.
like node. tight.
Just tell us the node value, because that's what we talk in. A 48 is a 2. Like, that's what we say out loud.
That's because you're used to it. Just hold in Alt and see what you're gonna get.
No, because
I
you
do
try
not want
talking
to tell people about 876 point habdomes, Snoogms.
No one wants to hear that. It's so hard to compare. Like,
What? I mean, come on. Why you gotta stop at 876 when there's 925s?
oh my God. There's not 925
No, we're not
anymore.
gonna get 925.
There
because he
I would know what
refuses round
925
numbers.
is. Oh, actually, up it. You should just be pushing it to 30 anyway.
They're gonna be 888. All right. You're gonna get an 888 habdome. How many points is that? Off the top of your head, go.
I don't know.
36. No, 37.
See? Look, people who are trying to do it can't even do it.
Thankfully, I still don't even know what this point system is. Like everyone keeps on saying points. I'm like, I
Exactly.
just looked
No,
at the
a small-
survey tool.
But,
Yeah,
wait,
exactly.
but tell
So,
me your mining colony.
Stop, guys, stop.
Yeah.
You're used to having to go through the map and saying 1 point, 2 point, 3 point, because there was no way for you guys to aggregate the information. The amount isn't the problem. It was the availability of a tool that let you summarize what's happening, right? So there's merit in showing just a unit and how many units, but then it's completely obscured behind like how much is that actually? If I claim it, what is my value raised by? You know? So like if there is if there's some requirement on this game that we can only use numbers divisible by 5 or 10, then I'm just screwed for work
No, we
hours.
provided you an alternative. But like, so Fizzle. Well, a lot of times in between maps and revisions, they will change the amount of resources each node generates. Okay, it's been as low as like 14 a point, and it's been as high as I don't know, like
28,
30.
I think. 30 was it?
Yeah. So as a result, it's really hard to say, oh, this point had X amount of spaces because that
Yes, because you
value
lose your
could
frame of
mean-
reference.
Yeah, because that value could mean different things in different contexts. So as a result, we've gone to a point where a small is 1 point, a medium is 2 points, and a large is 3 points. And you'd see on here, for example, a point is 25, a small is 25, a medium is 50, a large is 75. And that has been our frame of reference since basically time immemorial.
So why don't you just round it up? I mean, if it's such a problem.
Well,
How
where
dare
does
No,
800
Can I
If
ask you
you're
that as well? Why
48
don't you just
and you
round it
round it
up
up
to
to
25?
50, you're off by 2 resources per hour. Is that
I'm
going
with
to
ya.
skew your
I-
calculations?
The
I mean,
problem,
yeah.
is, the problem is when you do the survey tool and you look at it and you see 888. But where do you round 888?
890 or 900?
I just call it an 888 spot and go, sweet.
But we don't know, like, there's no frame of reference, and you say, I have 736, I have 42, whatever, like, it's, if you can even add on that survey tool, if this is your points, Snoogms, if you could add the points on there, how many media, like, just, this, like, total and the total points, and then we would be done, because then I could just, I don't have to tell again.
Just
I like that
25
myself.
for us. Just divide it for us, please.
Yeah, divide it for us, that's all you gotta do,
Yeah.
honestly.
Round it up, dude.
Yeah.
No,
If
you
if
round it
like
up,
25, just round it up.
you provide us the numbers.
But I
just
like the idea
points.
of having the actual, units in there.
It is
That's-
a
that
pain.
would be nice.
It is such a pain to talk and coordinate on a grand scale. Of my mining colony has 8 this, 8 like 7 this, whatever, like all these random numbers. What does your mining colony have? Well, my mining colony has 888, 736, whatever. And I'm like, how many points is that? Like,
That is
I
a
don't
good
know.
point on mining colonies. We
No,
talk about
like,
the points.
Look at the total values there. That's 200, 450, and 300. How is that hard? I mean,
These
if you're
numbers
off
right
by
here.
3
Not
resources,
good.
But when
that's
you're
not allowed.
when you're doing these calculations constantly in comparison, it becomes this like great. It was already a pain in the ass to find a good mining quality spot. Now I have to have Excel open to do
Yeah.
the fucking unit conversions.
Yep, it's impossible to like. You go around
It's
because
crazy.
you're comparing. Okay, so
we
I
will have to disagree on how difficult it is to round up 24 to 25.
I get
and
it.
we'll have to all agree that it's nice to have the unit values in there.
You just hate us, Snoogms, admit it.
I do not hate
No,
you
no, no,
guys.
that's
I
the
know.
middle ground. You said with the unit value on the survey tool, I think that would just solve
I would love you.
the brain problem we have.
I can't do
Because
it.
then we can just talk in units.
I don't. Yeah, I'm done with actually. You can,
So put
yeah.
yourselves in my shoes for a second. Let's say that I wanted to reduce the output of the map, like just a flat output of the map by 12.7%.
Yeah.
What the fuck is gonna happen then?
Give it. It's still
know?
1 point, 2 point, 3 point.
No. Then I have to go back to all buildings, all units, everything that
Yeah.
uses resources in any manner, and kind of figure out how I can tune them to a nice round number, so you guys don't have to round up.
Right.
That's just crazy,
but hold off on that until you can get us units, and let us have 25 until then.
I'm not versed in putting the units in there. I think that's an excellent idea because that would actually help me when I'm looking.
Okay, cool. We have a solution.
All right,
Everyone
Fizzle
agrees.
Kings, write that down.
Right, Fizzle Kids, write it down.
Seriously, I'm just gonna come back into this stream afterwards and do videos so I can just sit here and just go forward.
We're gonna be still arguing afterwards.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
We're still gonna be driving soon.
that's probably a bigger quality of life than all these UI updates you've done combined. I would
Wait,
rather
mine
have
grown.
25 nodes.
Have you looked at the top right corner of your screen, Feka?
Yeah, have you seen that?
Have you seen the triangles?
Have you seen the triangle?
Oh my god, no you didn't. What?
Wow.
Oh, somebody need. Oh,
Never mind. That's the
Whoever
best
did
quality
that,
of life you've added in the game.
Holy
Never-
shit.
No. This
So,
being commodities.
Go into the commodity things.
I love it.
Right. I'm getting the guy to have them visible there as well.
Imports.
Amazing.
That makes so
Yes.
much more sense.
Yes,
dude.
I know. I was so
Nice.
excited. Ugh.
Fuck yeah,
Yes,
that's
and
so
again,
cool.
the artwork.
And look at the description of the
Beautiful.
import for each one of them. It actually just describes exactly what they're for. So I've
Yes.
seen a lot of new players on Twitch go to the screen and go like, "Oh, man, something cool is happening." I pressed play. Now what's happening? And there's some description of some lot like this is now just explanatory. There's just like this is what this does.
That's awesome.
We had someone on chat that said they thought an event was an attack on their place, like by NPCs, and so they wouldn't do it.
100%. When I did my very first server, that's what I thought it was. It was something.
Yeah.
What I thought it was something you started, and then you had a certain amount of time to actually get the right amount of ships into place or whatever to actually perform it. That's what I thought the countdown timer was.
Yeah, no, you won't see that function until the new combat system is in place.
Yeah, go on.
These are attacking now? Is that what I'm hearing?
There's all kinds of cool stuff. Oh, we had another cool idea by Branks. Snoogms. I want to run this by you. I don't think you're here. We kind of trolled you with the Dyson Sphere. But then we were like, oh, it'd be way too logistically challenging for a sector to either defend or really attack it. You could up the fleet limit to 500 or whatever. I know you guys were looking into more NPC stuff, more like whatever. If it was just a resource dump, you can't attack it. It goes up, and it then just adds points to it. So then all players in this sector, it auto builds. So when it has enough resources, it just builds the next level. And it goes up over time so that it combines back with the mechanisms. Because having more than one layer to the mechanisms, we've all seen in Dead Zone, the big problem with mechanisms are, oh, last day I can just bomb them all out and make 2 months worth of progress. In this case, go away. Would you be interested in an NPC-based Dyson Sphere? Like a non-PvP, I guess. PvE Dyson Sphere.
Low barrier of entry to participate in the block victory.
Can you repeat that?
Branks, you go.
Okay, so imagine you have a Dyson in the middle of every block sector, right?
Following?
It just belongs to the sector. You don't have to take any mechanisms or Bindenbergs. It's just there. You cannot station ships there. You cannot target it by attack, but you can send resources by use of freighters.
Oh, I see what you mean. So like there's
It's scripted with a build
there's a point
queue.
system there that only by donating resources and it's outside of the PvP area.
Right.
Yeah.
But it adds to the mechanisms victory
That's
points.
interesting. I like
Or
that.
heck, you could even have it provide minor bonuses as it levels up to the entire sector.
That's really good, guys. I like that.
Branks came up
Because
with
the barrier
it.
of
I
entry is
endorsed
really
it.
low. Like I could log in every
Yeah.
time anybody in my sector, be like, oh, I'll just send resources, and all of a sudden you participated. You didn't
Yeah,
go.
that's really good, guys. I like it.
Really like, oh, PvP. I'm not certain if I'll do the right thing. You just helped,
You did it, boys.
and that's what
You'll see it in
like,
2022.
More than one avenue of generating victory points for the grand victory, right?
Right, and that's what I like is, oh man, like we have a lot of industrial players in our sector. It's kind of random at this point. We have 500 people. We don't know who we're going to get. It shouldn't overdo how mechanisms work, but now we don't need to capture maybe as many mechanisms. It should still be a very predominantly mechanism-based thing. But okay, we got a little bit of weight from this Dyson. It also takes away from the in-game bombing.
It could just be its own victory category, you know?
We like
Some
it combined,
community
Snoogms. We like it combined.
Combined.
We like it combined.
One podium.
All right, but I'll just throw this out there. That it could just be its own thing that kind of is
It
like
could
you said,
be.
low barrier entry. Everybody can participate. But it seems to me that many people will deem it as less worthy, but it's wonderful for new players and casual players, you know?
If you did do
Yeah,
it,
if it goes into the same pool, it's not less worthy because it contributes to the same grand goal of the entire sector.
now,
But you can track with you got the metrics for that. Like we see that now with the new metrics that you track. You could track how many resources each individual player has donated to their sector dice.
Yeah.
And somebody can say like you could give rewards or not, but somebody could brag like, "Hey, I carried this sector hard because
Absolutely,
I pumped the dice in more than double than anybody else."
if you didn't want it to be victory points, it could be like you're saying empire-wide bonuses. I would rather it be solely like empire-wide bonuses over being like, oh, we're gonna have a separate victory condition. I don't like the multiple victory stuff, but whatever you do, I think it was cool because like a lot of people have complained. I don't know what to do. And I think a lot of people are gonna find themselves kind of lost in this. I'm part of a 500-man team. We're gonna do our best. And I think there's a lot of reasons to join up, but it still can be kind of hard and confusing. The Dyson Sphere thing, I was like, oh man, and that brings back everyone loves the Dyson Sphere. I mean, I think that's just a trademark.
Dyson spheres aren't out by any means. They're a core part of our lore.
Right, exactly. So
Also, if it's NPC held and not attackable, nobody can blow it up. Omni cannot lose.
oh god.
Yeah, so you see those pop-ups names that like radiation, med value zones. Those are all going to be changed. They're going to be tied into the lore better, and also there's not going to be a black hole in the middle.
Oh,
What?
But what will there be in the middle?
Dyson Sphere. Everyone on the map contributes to. Everyone's happy. Everyone wins.
No, the actual object in the middle of this map is going to be tied heavily into the lore piece.
Is it a white square? You're just gonna take the Dyson out.
That's exciting.
is it a picture of Nihilus?
Oh god.
One day,
We
maybe.
did say a thing.
How'd we not see that?
If possible.
It's perfect. It's exact size. Oh god. The spawns seem good too. I like the direction of the spawns of veterans. Like, well, I guess first spawners into the middle.
So I'm going to go get a beer.
Perfect.
In the meanwhile, you guys have to think of one thing you want me to leak. Be right back.
Oh god, what?
Oh, God,
Combat.
okay.
We gotta vote combat, right? Like that's
Lore.
Well, so the thing.
Do we get one each or one combined?
Oh, we're gonna get one combined.
Yeah, he's gonna need one combined.
So let me say this is why I'm thinking combat. He's been working on it heavily. He is more likely to leak more than he thinks he's going to leak if we say combat. Now, we can do lore and stuff like that, and I'll hear you guys'
The combat's
votes.
not coming this round, is it? This is for
No, wait.
future iterations?
Yeah, I think he's actually saying lore soon
Play
anyway.
poker with him.
So go for
Play
combat.
poker with him. He's
Yeah,
worked
yeah.
on the combat system. He wants to leak it. Don't ask him to leak that. He'll
He's
do it
coming back. I
anyways.
think he's back.
I heard that.
I knew it. I heard your chair.
So I'm back with my beer, but I can't get another beer. So there won't be much leaking because I have to drive home. I'm still at the office.
Oh man.
Ooh.
When
Never
you
go
have
home.
beers
Stay
at
at
the
work
office?
tomorrow. Big brain.
Right. Did we have parameters to our what we could ask for?
No, I don't. I think we need to discuss the fact that he's drinking at the office.
Yeah, there's beer at the office.
I mean, what do you expect?
I'll say, did you want us to ask a
Professionalism?
question each
So it
or
seems to
combine as a
me
group?
that if you have not reached a conclusive decision
Combat.
on what you want to hear about, then it's nothing.
Combat.
Combat.
What? No, combat! You evil man.
So lore it is then.
I'd be down with story time. Like, if you have any kind of lore stuff you could give us, if you don't want to talk about combat. But obviously, we're
Let's keep the lore until Monday when we have the reveal. It'll be fun for you guys to read it.
okay.
So combat. Okay, what can I tell you about combat? So, do different damage types.
Range.
Oh?
Melee.
Combat is super visualized, tactical.
Super visualized.
You will see your units in combat engaging each other, units, shooting each other.
There's already 2 different damage types, though.
Damage and bombing. Like, what is that?
Sab damage?
So what was range? A lot of this interested Pete because of Gretter's picture leak, and I feel like if Greta leaked it, you should be able to leak it. What was going on in that picture?
I'll convey that feeling to him.
Yeah. Brains.
Please put in a ticket.
Yeah. So, excuse me. There's actually a battle map, and you have to decide how your units move across the map.
Oh my god.
When do you decide this? And like we talked about activity being a problem. Is it something you have to actively be on? Like,
Does it replace tactics?
Absolutely. Have you tried double-clicking a hex?
Yeah.
Have you tried double-clicking a hex?
Yes.
Yeah, I turned that off.
Okay.
Nice
and you guys
feature.
know, you know that you can press 1 now to zoom to a station.
Yeah. And so on and so forth with 2, 3,
Yes.
right? Yeah.
Same with map pins if you have them selected.
I liked in the new alliance, in your alliance thing, you have the alliance pins. I thought this was pretty nifty.
Yeah. You're welcome.
So, is the combat real time? That was the question in chat. Like, is that
No,
like the?
It does not require you to be at the computer.
Okay, that's the best way to ask that question. That's what's important. As I think you guys heard in the roundtable. I'm gonna bring that picture up real quick. Actually,
We had that long ago where like it made sense for you to be there when you were being attacked, and that was just sleepless nights for weeks on end. You know, it's just crazy.
yeah.
Please don't. No more.
No, it's never gonna be that way.
Yeah. Can imagine.
Atlas doesn't sleep as it is.
Yeah, exactly. This is rough as it is.
Yeah, so you're gonna have a bunch of different units, like all the units that we have today. They're all gonna be different with different functionality and different damage types and different shields and all sorts of stuff. There's gonna be terrain that matters. It's gonna be fun, guys.
Terrain that matters. So I'm looking at a data cache on this photo. The hell.
Mm-hmm. The hell. so this picture is not reliable.
It's all we got. So give us a better picture than Snoogms.
Now this so one of the things that we want to do is make a lot more solo content.
Right.
So what you're looking at there is like a sketch of a screen. You would see like you get a mission to perform. It has these 3-4 steps in them, and you have to complete it. And you can do that at your leisure with your fleets. You don't. It's not a PvP thing.
Oh. That's really
How does that work with alliance assaults?
Yeah. I'm
Oh.
not sure. Yeah. Well,
What does that mean?
that means like.
Fuck your alliance assault, Nihilus.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's what that means.
Very aggressive. Very aggressive.
Do it.
That's what
You
Snoogms meant to
assume
say.
alliances are still a thing.
Yeah.
I'm ready.
Sector assault when?
Sector assault.
Oh, coordination.
Oh man.
Wrote him, no.
Just set that shit up.
Faka, dude, there's like 725 people who haven't committed. Can you do something about this?
The other half have committed indies. Like, what is happening? Like, get out of here.
Sector assault inbound. We need to start sabbing some key players.
Oh my god.
Holy shit.
Oh god, dude. No.
I mean, imagine seeing that though on the map. If you have everyone probed out, you just see hundreds of the little, incoming assault icons towards you.
That would be, intense though, wouldn't it?
God,
It's like, guys, I think I quit the game. I've got 725 insults.
Yeah. I'm
Incoming.
opening my movement tab and nothing is happening. Starborne is just not installing themselves at this point.
We can always do old Alpha 8 style assaults. Just spam in sector chat for days on end, a date and time and coordinate.
One thing cool about this very first Dissidence server, guys, is that the very first server is actually a historical battle in the Starborne universe. The result of this server is a deciding thing for the entirety of the Starborne universe.
Are we going to
Well,
see
good.
which faction we're joining for which
Yes.
sector when the actual
Yes.
Dissidence is done? Wonderful.
Can we change this to server 24? Oh man. That's
I just read
I
the
got no-
latest
I got
version of
stopped.
the lore piece for Dissidence. It's coming together very nicely. You guys will like it.
So what's the lore gonna look like when one side has massive internal drama and completely falls apart?
We'll make a note of it and incorporate it.
that's why there's 3. They're planning on one going down in political flames. No, this is gonna be cool. I was really hesitant, and I didn't know how I felt about it for a while, but kind of looking at this map and realizing a lot of the little nuances. Yeah, this is gonna be it. This is cool. You brought back coalitions, and that's really all I wanted. It's not the same way I thought, but I'm still happy with the group play.
But Feka, you were gonna take a break.
I was, and now I'm not.
Wait, but how is it all gonna work out with server 24 running still
I know.
when Dissidence starts?
We're gonna shut it
People are
down.
going to be sad.
They're gonna shut it down.
Dead Zone was a warning.
Yeah.
Yep. No one wins the community tournament server. It's over. New community tournament server is server 1.
I mean, I'm okay. You just end it right now. Everyone who's currently on the board just wins. So Colton Niles gets first place, Dyson.
I don't
Third
think
place.
Ego would be happy with that.
If we get the whole server to agree, we just need to shut down the server so we can all just play Dissident. That'd be the key. Even though I've spent a stupid amount of money on S24, I'm willing to sacrifice it for my free time back. What are these little What?
Click it.
What the hell is that?
What?
It's like the screensaver mode. You can like click that, it turns down the FPS of the game, and you can just have that in the background and watch your movement.
That is wild.
That's next level loading bars. I like it.
It really is. Oh.
You can also rotate the camera around if you right click and drag. So
You didn't like the double clicking of hexes, Feka?
Well, so I didn't like when I clicked missions, and I turned both off on accident. So say if I have my fleet here, I'll go here, and I went to go do this mission, right? And I'm up here, and I clicked here, and I clicked mission. It zoomed me into it, and I wanted to do a bunch in a row.
Yeah.
And so when you zoom in, you have to re-scroll back out, and then do it, and you zoom in.
So, like when you right-click a mission to see it, it zooms in as well.
Right.
That's what you're saying.
Yeah.
Okay, so we gotta remove that functionality.
I mean, I'm not.
It should only be on double-click, not on everything else.
Okay, I took it off because of that. Yeah. And
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
You know.
It was just so inconvenient.
I get it.
Yeah, I think someone was actually talking about that in global chat in-game. Yeah, Dixie was talking about it, and
It had to go. Like, let's see if we can work on
Let
it.
me make a note of that.
this feature.
But I think when I turned it back on, it didn't go back on. Yeah, so turning it back on doesn't actually turn it back on. Probably on a relog it might, but I can test it for you now.
That's on your end. I turn it off and on. It works for me.
Really?
Same.
Wild.
But I made a note about that mission thing. So like I don't want you to turn off a feature because in some scenario it's ruining your experience.
Well, I mean, I know for some people it might. It may enhance it for some people. I don't know.
We all know
but-
if you're doing missions, once you
Yeah.
get used to it, like you just want that overall view and just want to do them.
Yeah, I also have a dream of one day getting, like, I can click up here for missions, and it just shows me all the closest missions in a list, and I can just click on them and do them, like, send fleet. Here we go, Devil's Back. Yeah, so I had to relog for it, but maybe that's just on my end. Nope, hold on, now it's not doing it.
What do I need to do to convince you to give me debug commands on this server?
Wait a week, right? Can we get the server on a test server?
You don't have to do much to convince me. I think there should be one up where you guys can fiddle around with this.
Wonderful.
Give us feedback on bugs. I'll see if I can get the guys to do that tomorrow for the super testers.
I'm gonna investigate 0% mission requirements.
Feka, go to movement tab.
Yeah. Does military work now? Any of them work now?
What does the view report button mean? Like, what does it intend to do?
Don't know. I've never seen it.
Also,
Okay.
none of the things work anymore.
The view report button never worked for me.
No. But I can't even switch tabs.
I mean, the view report button shouldn't be there unless it's on its way back, I guess.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, but also
for
clicking
other
on
people-
the different organization ones, like military exploration and industry, doesn't actually filter out anything.
Yeah,
That's a
we'll report
feature.
That. Yeah.
That's a feature.
Like when you guys moved messages from the messages tab.
What?
Remember back in the day, we used to have messages in the messages tab. There was combat
Oh,
spy
oh, yeah,
messages.
yeah.
You guys removed that from me, and it was heartbreaking.
Aw.
This thing is whack. It's okay.
With me having a sip of my beer, fix it for you.
Pour a bit out for me on the office floor. This one's for Feka. Not being able to. All I do is fucking talk in this game.
I'll pour it on the floor, and when the janitor guy comes, I'll say, it's traditional.
That's for Feka.
That's for Feka, man.
It's okay. Skip that part. Leave that there for tomorrow.
I like these new pictures for the event.
Yeah, they're good, aren't they?
Love them. I'm so happy. Events just made no sense.
Now, like, by naming the tab commodities, it just ties it into the name of the cards. So whenever you see them, if you've seen the tab, you just kind of know, oh, what's this tab about? Let's go check it out. And then you have the explanations of what they do on the top right.
Yeah.
Big quality of life improvement.
Big. Politics, huge, as you can imagine. The ranking system. However, and I'm sure you don't have anything to do with this, so I won't harp on it. But when you go to what was it? It was activity. It's a 1-to-1 point for loot, and it's also like 1-to-1 for missions. So I have 774 points for loot for my activity score.
Yeah, I just did those numbers today.
Yeah. So I
was doing the weights for all the rankings today, so
okay, cool.
I don't think that my data pool is the best that I have to base these numbers on, but at least they are not 1-to-1, and they're kind of the attempt there is that they are like each like loot mission. Like in loot, you will just see how much you've looted. In missions, you will not see how many missions you've done. You will see the aggregate points value of the missions. Right now, they're set to you get 1 mission point for doing a level 1 mission, and then a level 2 mission is 2 times that. A level 3 missions is 3 times 2, etc. So the values are 1, 2, 6, 24, 120.
Right. Would you consider ever doing it exponentially then? Like where
that is literally exponentially.
1, 4, 9, 16, 25? Is that what you said?
No.
That is exponential.
He did 1, 2, 6.
24, 120.
Yeah,
120. Okay, good. Yeah. Awesome. So,
then augment is 1-to-1. That's just how many times you augment it. Achievements is just how many you've done. Plasma is just how many resources. But then in the actual activity score, each of those categories are weighted. So given a criteria like a circa end game status, like or day 50 status of this, a hypothetical situation, they should be equal. If you have like I don't know, basically like if you do nothing in augments, that's gonna like having like, okay, let me say it this way: if you have augmented 86 outposts at day 50, that is roughly equivalent to completing 800 achievements. In the activity score isn't the sum of
it's a weighted sum.
It's weighted, yeah.
Right.
So the activity score is going to be different for each player depending on what they're doing.
Perfect. That was exactly my question as that works. So I was like, man, like loot is just going to be the best raider out here. I was actually pretty impressed by the achievements tab. That's just one I'd never heard anyone ask for or anything, but I like it. I like seeing, oh man, that guy. And I think it's going to be important for new players. This is always my point with Plasma. that I went to see, because new players only see ratings, so they're like, oh, this guy's high up in the leaderboard, like I must like they never see that, oh, I need to do solar flares. It's already kind of like a pretty like obscure thing if you're not coming from Starborne, right? If you're coming from any other game, knowing that you need to go to the missions, like go scan a star, wait for it to show up, and then to do it. So seeing Plasma, I think, will get them a little bit closer to that. I think that's awesome.
The idea here is, of course, like that everybody can feel the king of their own favorite category.
Yeah.
So far, one outpost has been augmented.
The king of augments.
The king of augments.
So I think this is going to be, I mean, this is just leaps and bounds. I know Exo says probably won't, the new UI probably won't come to server 24, but oh man, the things we would do for that. I know it's probably most of that's not even recorded or whatever else, I don't know, but that was the big, like the UIs, to me, for a long time at least, was the biggest part of this update. Now that we're looking at it, I do like the map a lot. And I'm starting to get the vibes for how this is gonna go.
Awesome.
And it's gonna be interesting. I like Branks mentioned earlier, you know, especially if you spawn like this, where, you know, on the left side and the right side, and the left side's like, yo, we need to go deal with these guys, and the right side's like, no, we really need to go this way. And I imagine it's gonna be very hard to, as a giant 500-person group, to coordinate on any significant way, hey, we're going to go attack this sector. So I think that will keep it relatively fair, because I know the big complaint was, oh, well, is it going to be a 2v1 situation? And I can't imagine it stays that way for very long.
That's the thing. I mean, being on top of the leaderboards just makes the other two sectors go like, hey, this guy's winning. Let's not make that happen.
Yes.
You definitely cannot have a sector-to-sector non-aggression pact.
Well, yeah, exactly. One thing that I'm concerned, and I just don't know. Are we gonna have to wait, 3 weeks until we see some PvP action because everybody's just working together in the sector, or are people going to assault each other for the special hexes?
So this is
get on fire, bro.
This is an interesting one we had talked about that actually related into how many pre-mades are going to spawn, because originally the first thing is, well, we just have all the pre-mades spawn in the same sector, right? But that means less of these outposts, of these special hexes per alliance. And I can only imagine the drama that will ensue. Is you think you deserve the attacking one more than me? Well, fine. And you're more coordinated, so you're quicker to attack because you feel like you're, more worthy. Whereas if you spawn into a relatively new player sector and you're helping out new players, they might be more inclined to just be like, all right, here you go. You can go ahead and take those. You guys deserve it. So I think that's going to balance out, and it might happen. I think some people are going to have egos about him, and I deserve this Empire one more than you. And
yeah, I hope so.
And with 500 people, it's impossible not to. And that's where I don't think any NAPs will happen, because you can't honor them.
Like, there has to be strife within the sector as well.
Yeah. And it's at least there. I don't know how much it will happen, but it's certainly there. And especially if, say, a player goes AFK in the sector, we were talking about this earlier, the fact that you can raid them, I can imagine a situation is going to happen. Someone goes AFK in a different alliance. You start raiding that player because you're like, all right, well, he's AFK. And the guy's like, well, no, it doesn't mean you can raid him. And then, the dominoes start falling, right?
Yeah.
Solar flares will do that already too, man. Yeah, if you keep solar flares anywhere near where they are, man, our own alliances almost tear each other apart about solar flares. So I can only imagine.
The industrial aspect.
So let's just keep solar flares as they are.
God, I swear to God, Snoogms, I can't do it. We're gonna break. That's it. Roadhip had a big problem with that too. I mean, SRS, you guys were just every day. I mean, and we got a lot of those players, and they're very. People get so upset about damn solar flares. I don't get it. We because the old alpha players, we didn't really come from solar flares being this dominant, so we're like, whoever gets it gets it. These newer guys, like the beta guys, I mean, they are obsessive about these things.
So here's the thing, like, nobody definitively knows if solar flares are the best way to generate resources.
Long term.
There's a case to be made for raiding, and there's a case to be made for missions.
Long
term. But the thing about solar flares is that, you can do them at all times throughout the game. Once you go to war, you're not raiding anymore. You're using your fleets for something else. So, like, if just by calculating the distance between stars, the average speed, the plasma cargo people have, and what they've made, they do actually kind of balance out, and the same about the factions. Like, given a set of data, if you look at the Atlas bonus for resources, it kind of balances out to what the MPL is doing on paper, but that paper isn't reality though. So I'm just really looking forward to actually tracking these metrics and seeing them absolutely for real.
Were you not tracking solar flare resources before?
No, they stopped that at some point. I don't know why. I got upset.
Okay. Well, and the big problem, and I know we've harped on enough, so I won't go over too much more, but the big problem really has been that first week where you are, leaps and bounds, and it's hard to fall once you're that high. I know it does even out throughout the game. It is a 2-month game. But being able to get 40k resources within, is it even 2 days now? You can get enough if you're just solely building indies with the cards, and you're one tapping for 40k, buying the traders, buying the buildars. It's like, wow. So if you did tiers, because you guys did this with missions as well, right? Where you guys tiered out the missions, and you're like, okay, we'll spawn lower tier missions in the beginning. Because there kind of is at least a barrier to entry.
Yes.
Raiding really doesn't come too prominently until you get about a weekend, and even then, like you said, you can go to war and you can't really raid. Same thing with missions. You go to war and you can't really do missions. Whereas you always have a few indie fleets, flying around.
Yeah. So, like, at least all of the different aspects, the domain, military, and industrial, they have an active way of generating stuff. Solar flares, missions, and raiding, right? So we need that. We need, like, if you're going one route, there needs to be some way where you are kind of actively generating resources. But the problem with that is hyperactive players as well. But it's great that solar flares are so, like, aside from actually finding them and then realizing you have to have plasma cargo to begin with, that solar flares are really simple. It's a really easy way, non-confrontational. The only thing is get there first. Right. I can tell you guys that I really want to change the solar flare mechanics to something, not just about being there first, but like who has the biggest plasma cargo. So, like, when you land at the solar flare, the plasma cargo is actually dictating how fast you drain the solar flares. You're not limiting your cargo. It's just like how fast, like how long. Basically, it's like per hour. Like, if you have 20 plasma cargo, that means like 2,000 resources per hour are drained from the solar flare. And then you have to commit, and then you have like maybe 3-4 players at the same solar flare all draining it at the same time, and I think that's gonna be a lot more fun.
Yeah, it's about getting more people involved, in my opinion. Yeah. It's the sniping that drives alliances insane.
Yeah,
I got there 1 second before you, and I got 40k resources, and you got 0, and we did the exact same thing. And oh man, the internal drama is unreal.
I am aware. It's like can't do everything at the same time.
Right. Yeah.
Just keep in mind, guys, we are still in beta.
Yeah, of course.
My moons keep disappearing on me.
Shut up, we're talking about solar flares.
That was the greatest conversational changer I've ever heard.
No, like, legit, like, I have a moon in the conflict zone in between me and the Marauder, and it keeps disappearing.
Good memes.
Oh, well, that's actually the Jackish strategy. I don't know if you guys have been... He told me about this, and dropping your claim where the Marauder claims it, so that he gets the resources, so that you can raid him and get more resources, even if it's marginally different.
Yeah, but
I thought that was good.
Then you're not harvesting them.
But you're not anyways, because it's contested.
And you might have a higher harvest ratio than the damn Marauder.
But it's contested, so neither of you harvest it.
It's only relevant for the first, hour.
Yeah. Well, no, because you sit on Willy, so if you don't buy the starter pack, you sit at level 1 for quite some time. But I thought it was funny. Obviously, it's not a big thing. But
but it's nice that there are these little tweaks.
Yeah. And that's the kind of stuff. It's going to be a total of maybe 20 resources for a lot of cases, but it's 20 more. Like, if you're really min-maxing, right? Like, there's no reason not to, because you don't get anything from it. So I like little things like that. Yeah, I just dropped the claim and the moon disappeared. It happened to me too.
Oh wow! I can't drop claim.
Yeah, I can't drop claim at all, actually.
And that as well, yeah.
Is that intentional? You can't drop claim? I guess the button wouldn't be there if it was intentional, huh?
Can't drop. Let me just write down. Feka is too stupid to understand how to draw claims, and he made his moon. So I've noted that down, Feka. Thank you.
Oh yeah. Anytime. And he lost his moon.
And I've heard that you're the hottest guy in Starborne.
Oh, that's Nicholas Wade. I don't know what his political edge is for this. Like one day he texted me and he's like, "Hey man, like tomorrow we need to talk about something." This like before all this Eclipse stuff went on. And I was like, okay. Then he didn't ever type to me. It's been like 3 days, but ever since then he's been in chat being like, "Man, Feck is just so hot." I'm like, what kind of angle is this? Like he's like buttering me up so when he does talk to me, like I'm like, ooh, okay, like. Oh god.
I don't know. It's high time we had someone who's like discreetly highly homoerotic.
Yeah, well, it comes at the perfect time with that random ass Reddit post. So it's like we're here to prove this is not what we stand for. Look, Feka and Nicholas, they're gay together. Look at them. Like,
oh Jesus. Gotta love the internet, dude.
Oh yeah, no, it's fantastic. Bad Carbon Chat says Nicholas has something up his sleeve 100%. So I don't know if that's confirmation. Should I be covering up my windows and like trying to better hide my address? Oh god.
God, I have to go through all the achievements tomorrow.
No, you don't.
Ugh.
No, you don't. No, you don't. No, you don't. No, you don't.
He's got to buff him.
If maybe don't you do it, Snoogms? You don't have to, man.
Resources aren't a source of income. They're there just to kind of keep you going. It's crazy the way they are.
Yeah, but they're single. They're single use. Are you?
Yeah.
Payment
So
times
the
early
early
game
game
are so
doesn't
Probably
very
for the
slow.
veterans, just they know how to navigate them, and they just like.
That's good.
I was literally super amazing that I got like my first station in like 13 hours flat in the launch of beta. I hear you guys are getting in under 10 hours now. That's just crazy.
Under 10 hours. Is that what we're doing, guys?
Yes, that's what's happening. It sounds like 3 hours, but the difference there in the snowballing effect is crazy.
Is the 3 hour difference the store?
I'm pretty sure it's
Or was your
fair.
13 hours using the store anyway?
So
It's-
I did it in 13 hours with the beta store, and buying everything I could buy. So people are doing it in 10 hours now, and I don't think they're buying everything they need to buy even to do it.
First, I think they are. Second, I think it's definitely the flares. I mean, because you're like basically one-tapping these flares by 10 hours.
Yeah,
And
and
so
having access to ridiculous amounts of credits in the in the achievements and the rare card and 40
I'd like
extra
to
industrial
point out-
just for doing stuff that
I'd
doesn't
like
help
to
the flare
point out
case.
that I reach 1,400 credits as a mostly free-to-play player using the achievements. I can get my first gold card on the second or third day.
It's crazy.
I think that's not very fast. If I stay at that rate for the whole game, I'm gonna have 20 gold cards by the end, less than that.
But you
I mean,
can't
not
say
while
that
people
they're
who
gonna
buy-
You're gonna be
achievements.
farming missions and doing stuff, you know it.
But
I mean,
mostly, I like the credits and the cards from missions because if they're not there, people who buy and get like 4,000 credits from different packs have a bigger advantage.
But that is controlled. You know, we can decide how much you get from the packs and stuff. Like this depends on how on your knowledge of the achievement system and your activity in the game.
I
It's
think it's
just-
mostly knowledge of the achievement system, and I think that's a good thing to give veteran players who are playing over and over to be able to work the achievement system. Is like a
I mean,
rewarding.
there's still an advantage to
gameplay.
knowing the achievement system, but how much should the advantage be? I mean, should you be building your station in under 10 hours while the normal player takes like 30 hours to do it?
How much are they doing it free to
right.
play though? Is like what I would argue, because I think the players that so I think that's Krillin was hitting on this earlier with store being stuff that either helps out players catch up or if it helps good players boost even further ahead. And with solar flares with the ridiculous time cards, I mean I think that's what's happening. And I don't know if like specifically what achievements are like the first day. Are you thinking like say craft a card, get rid of the 100 credits, or like what are things you're thinking?
Yeah, what the hell is that?
Right.
100 credits? I mean, Jesus.
But like, are you removing the hydraulic arm? Because I like the hydraulic arm. I think that's
You're never getting a rare card for doing just the first day achievements. That's just not happening. That's just ridiculous.
As long as you don't give me 4 credits.
Any cards?
You're gonna get the common versions just for doing the tutorial and the first batch of the ones in the early game. Otherwise, you're gonna have to create your cards.
But new
The
players
risk,
don't know
though,
how to
I see,
create.
and you have to be careful with this, is that the early game doesn't seem boring and sluggish, slow, where it just captivates on a new player, right? Having a lot of resources and allowing you to speed through the game helps with engagement, right?
So like we've been through this several times. Like things like exactly that logic led to how like the end of Alpha 9 and the tournament was. It was just like you were just overflowing with everything. You never had to work for anything. There was no sense of progression. Everything was handed to you just because you knew how to navigate the achievements really fast in the early game. It's just not fun. It's not fun to have rares everything and then you're like, I can just craft legendaries because this is enough for now. You know, it's like it just ruins progression completely.
I think.
Yeah, absolutely. It has to be balanced.
Right.
I'm just saying,
Yeah.
please be
I'm not-
careful
I'm not-
when you
I'm
go
not
over
saying
this. Do not make it too sluggish.
Beta 1 beginning was awful. Like, really.
There's
really
so
bad.
many people who disagree with you.
I've never met any of them.
People.
we didn't like Flu. Like we also didn't like Flu, right? I thought the Quick Flex was horrible. I'm 100% with you there. However, I think there is a median where it is nice to be able to work the achievements a little bit and get at least an hour of gameplay in when you first start the server, not log on and just kind of walk away for like for new players. Yeah.
Another thing to consider: if I remove your bonuses, you guys get angry and upset with.
No.
So not you specifically, just players, right? If you're used to getting a lot and then gets cut down to nothing, people get upset and I can't play now. This is not boring, right? So the starting point is always on the low side, not on the high side, and then you add to it because this is just a bit of psychology from the game designer's perspective.
Sure.
If I start by giving you too much and then I take it away, it's like if I take stuff away from players, it makes them feel bad. So if I'm going to redo this, I'm going to start on the low side and then add to it rather than just incrementally making it lower and lower and lower, because that's a bad feeling. Right now, I have to consider Dissidence as a kind of a new beginning for this, because it's been so screwed up right now.
I just think we agreed with you that there was too much at Flu. Like, we were all ready for it. And
Yeah.
I really think Beta 1 was not a very good achievement system. I'm not saying this one's perfect, but I think even if you move it at least down to common cards, when you're redoing it, please don't give us 4 credits again for anything. Give us a common, even if it's a common time card that you can break down. My main point is a new player doesn't like to craft cards. They don't know to craft cards. They don't even know what cards are around. Giving them at least something that they can equip can at least get their brain working.
So it isn't about an individual achievement for credits or not. It's about the total you get in your first play session. It's about how much is in there as a whole, not about the individual ones.
But
How do you define first play session?
The first play session would, like, let's rather talk about it as like completing the tutorial achievements. Like that's like one thing.
Okay, that
So
entire cycle.
Yeah, so I would rather that the general ones, which is to me category 1 and tutorial is category 0, I would like to split up the category 1. I just don't have time to do it, to make smaller cycles. You understand? It's like some of the category, like some of the general achievements, you actually don't complete them until much later. I would rather like think about like category 0 is like your first 24 hours. Category 1 is the next 2 days. And then category 3 is the next, 5 days. That's how I would like to approach it, but we don't have that right now, so I can't do that. Just take this conversation right now. I'm talking about reducing everything, and you guys are adversely affected by that. Like, oh, please don't take everything away from me. Please don't make it all small. This is exactly the problem with making it too high, people getting used to it, and then we have to rebalance it.
But
It's
you didn't get used to it with Flu, right? We acknowledge it was too much. Like that's like, so when we do get to that point, I think most of the players do realize this is a quick plus. I don't like it.
Yes. The numbers between A9 and Beta conclusively show us that it's not healthy for the player to get too much too early.
Right. But
It's just,
so
it's like, that's science. I can't argue with the numbers we have there.
so
So I'm not going to ruin your game, but I am going to tone it down considerably.
And
What's the low end of a credit reward in your opinion? And nothing binding from you now, right? I realize that, but just when you like spitball a bit here, like the lowest credit reward you would give for achievement, where are you there? Like 10?
Think about killing your level 1 NPC in World of Warcraft and you get 2 copper. You know,
All right.
that if you've played the end game, you know that is very little. But if you're playing it for the first time and you kill 200 level 1s and you have 1 silver and you can buy something, you feel good about that.
But I do feel a lot better in World of Warcraft when I first start out and I kill something and I get boots. And I go to the store and I sell those boots for 2 copper. I've still gotten 2 copper. So that's my only thing is like, so right now, binary helix up. That breaks down for 2 credits. Don't give us ever plain credits. I think they're very meh when you can give me a binary helix and I can go break it down for 2. The new player now knows, hey, this is a card that's in the game. The veteran knows, oh, I'm just going to break this down. And that's my main plea, and that's the main thing I've liked about the new achievement system is we're getting a lot more cards. There's more flavor to it. Even if you can tone down, go from legendary to epic, epic to rare, I'm more okay with that. Obviously, in some cases, it's a case-by-case basis, but I just like getting something instead of just, oh, here's 4 credits.
Yeah, I agree with that. It's nice to get an item.
Right.
To get a currency is like, oh, I gotta collect this. Yeah, I get it. That's a fair point.
But
then you have these starting strats for somebody's like, I want to do this achievement to get the item, and others are like, I want to get it to break it down. Go back to that
thing about the achievement. Like, you're doing the first part of an achievement chain, right?
Right.
And you get 4 credits. The next one, you get 6 credits. Then you get 8. Then you get 12 in a card. You know?
Awful.
So that... Why is that awful?
Give me binary helix, then give me boards and something else, then give me art. Even if I have less credits total, I might use one of those and that brings it back up, but it feels like I'm gaining something through every step of this, and you might use it and it gives vets a chance. If I know on the 3rd step of that, I might get boards, which for crafting is 24 credits, but I can break it down for 2. If you look down to the median, that might be 12 credits. So at the end, I might use one of these 5 cards, but I can break them all down for 10 credits. I think that's so much better for both new players and veteran players.
What about the rest of you guys? You agree with Fak on that?
Yeah.
I like the flavor of having cards rather than having credits quite a lot.
All right, I'll ponder that point a little bit.
I think the cards.
It's to like the starting strategy. I was trying to get it earlier. Like let's say it's the common plasma cargo card that you get from achievement. Somebody might want to have a starting strategy where they do want to flare. So they're like, okay, I'm gonna aim for this achievement for the card in specific to start flaring. Others might be like, I don't want that, but I want the 2 credits. So I'm just gonna do this achievement. It's early, it's easy, and I'm gonna break it down. I have my 2 credits, turn that into something else. So there's different ways to use that achievement instead of just 2 credits. Like,
yeah, I get
no
it.
real...
Yeah, it makes sense.
Part of it also is that I feel like Fek had a good point with like getting cards that you break down for your floor is good because it addresses 2 types of players. It addresses the players who know what the card is, know its value, and say, I either want this or I don't want it. So they can immediately break it down or keep it or use it or utilize it. But for the player, you are now exposing all the new players to a card. This is a card that I can get. And then now they have to ponder, do I want this? What is this used for? Which ships is it going? So it leads them to push down these avenues of like, where does this fit in the game? And we're getting a credit is just part of this ubiquitous credit system. And I do agree with Feka. I find that a lot of players who play strategy games, they don't buy cards because they realize it's a finite resource they have, and they don't want to realize that they squandered it on something that they are going to regret later. So that disassociates them from exposure to different cards that has them investigate, where do these go? Oh, these only go on specific slots. Some cards go for some ships, some cards don't go for other ships. I feel that the other side is just like, I think the problem is that part of the floor on the achievements is that the floor is tied to the lowest common denominator of when you could break down a card, and not the lowest common denominator of what it takes to buy a card. That just could be something that, like, you can't get around, and but I feel like at a certain point, like, the floor exists is like, if you take the lowest common card and break it down, you get 2 credits. It's how I actually evaluate how to do missions. The floor on a mission crate is typically 6 credits. because you're getting 3 cards, and maybe you'll get a speed up. But for the most part, you can break down to 6 credits. But the floor to buy a card, if you've played and you've put the blueprints into that card, is 24 credits. So comparing earning 2 credits versus the minimum you need to buy a card if you're a veteran is 12 times the amount that you're given. And that might be part of what also feels bad. The floor is literally the floor. And as an achievement, like getting that, it's just sort of like there is no common denominator of any credit earning in the game that is lower than what I'm being given for this. And maybe that progression is enough, but I don't know.
All right. I'll keep this in mind when I go through the achievements tomorrow. I won't remove credits entirely, and some tasks might warrant that. Here's just a few, like say your name in chat or something. I mean,
yeah. Cards don't make sense.
Here are just a couple of credits for you, just like going through our UI. But yeah, it makes sense what you guys are saying. I'll keep it in mind. I promise.
Yeah.
I also
Actually,
like finishing achievements like the one for the tutorial that you have, and I imagine when you say like the tiered achievements that's something like layers of achievements that you go through where that might be something where it's like you did all the T0 achievements, here, take 120 credits. Oh, you did all tier 1 achievements, here, take 240 credits. Like that's a good place, I believe, where you can give a major reward because it's been a major task.
Mm-hmm.
I like what you said. Like if it's say hey in chat, clearly there's because I like it a lot. If you can tie it in ever, that's the coolest feeling ever. Like that's where I felt like, oh, if you do a solar flare, here's something that helps you with solar flares. For new players, it's a huge experience thing. If I build a patrol, that's when I should get the binary. Not like if I say hi in chat, give me, anything you give me would be so unrelated, it would feel weird. So I totally get you on that. Where that would at that point it would kind of warrant a credits, but it would
half a credit
for you, good sir. Well, I think it used to be attacker damage used to be like it would deal like 5 million attacker damage. It's like here's 100 credits for your service, and it's like at least give me like at least a blue firepower card, like something that connects that in my head.
Mm-hmm.
It would just
we of course try to do that. I mean, you can see that in achievements. Like usually, if we can, the rewards kind of pertain to what you were doing.
Right, and I like that. I think that's a good like system. I can't get over these logos in game. Sorry for the sidetrack. It's just I didn't know it's something I didn't know how much I wanted this.
Wait, what's the logo of?
It's your Alliance logo. There's Alliance logos.
Alliance crests.
Now.
Crests, Vega.
Crests. But look at this.
Flags and crests.
Look how
Can you customize them?
Yes, there's like 72 different options in 2 colors. Look at my screen right now. It's like all my Alliance members we have our crests.
You chose gray?
Oh
my god.
I had something different. But this looks like a person bending over, so I took this one.
Yeah, but it's still gray.
Well, any other colors you add, I'm not trying to add any kind of weird connotation here. This is just simply a guy bending over. Okay. I had like a purple and gold pill before, but then Brain told me I could change the logo. It's so good. It looks so like uniting, especially now that we have coalitions, and I feel like there's gonna be this kind of scattering. This is another bonding thing. Do you guys plan on adding any kind of major coalition features into this type of stuff, or just kind of free willy?
If you do not count the evolving geography of the Milky Way, then I don't think there's anything planned.
Like as far as like leadership tools, as far as like helping like organize.
Yeah.
Like sector chat, I think is a perfect example.
Like since I don't know, Alpha 9 or something, I've been asking for that at least inside the Alliance screen there's a ranking of who's contributing what, so we know who's contributing to the Alliance. People just say I did this, say I did that. So for me, that would kind of help you get a sense of who's doing what in your Alliance. The Alliance memos are a great thing, so you can have these kind of tickets outstanding to people so they can see what's happening in the Alliance. That the Alliance pins are now there. That's awesome. It's just like just a bunch of bunch of stuff there that's already in there. But what would you like to see? I mean,
anything like so, being able to tell what's in my alliance members' stations, like or like being fleet op. What in the hell is going on now?
The operating fleet thing was a very big improvement.
Right.
Yeah,
so,
that came there.
So, yeah, right. So those are big ideas as like anything that helped me coordinate. So if I could tell honestly what's in my alliance's ship queues, if I was a screen or say these are our members and this is what people are building today, this is what coming into the thing. If I could see who's donating what resources to what thing, anything like we have so many forms that we have our alliance members filling out. Like daily to get this base information that I really do believe should be provided in a lot of ways, and I think it's a problem like where you see leadership melting and it's hard for other premates to form because they don't have these tools at their hands. So specifically where we constantly ask everyone in our alliance how many fleets do you have, something simple like that, right? Like if normally logistics, how many Corvettes does our alliance
So like
have?
an overview of what's happening inside your alliance.
Right, and you can obviously give if you're worried about spies, it could just be it's something you give. Like you can see alliance.
It could be a role.
Right, it could easily be a role or a permission. But anything I could see about my alliance members, so I don't have to ping them and then them return to me maybe with an answer, maybe in a few hours, because this isn't a game you play.
Yes.
You know what I mean? But God, that would be. I mean, just anything.
So that's next up. So we have the fleet capacity, we have better communication tools, we have to a degree better rankings. But yeah, okay, I get you. Yep.
It's something I see like, and we're obviously going to be fine. I think Gravity Fab, like at the end of the day, will be fine. But I do see it in newer alliances and just how in the hell do you do anything now.
I mean, it will definitely help, especially having run the new player alliance recently on like S20 and all that stuff. Trying to figure out who was going to be our TN Chow, where they were at, could they take down missile batteries yet? They're out in Eastern Europe. I'm East Coast, so our time zones don't match up very well, so I can't just get an answer from them.
Mm-hmm.
I think you guys have taken another step in the right direction here. I believe I saw it on my profile a second ago when I went to. How do you get back to profile now? I thought it was here. No, my profile, yeah. Where now you can see Terran Combine. And can I do this if I click on one of my friends?
No, it's only for your own station.
It's only for your own station?
Yeah, I would really like to see factions on players.
I don't know if I should see it on enemies, because I feel like that might be, like you could get too much information from that, but I would love to see that from my allies. If I could see that from my allies, that's another thing.
I think seeing the factions players are playing on, even your enemies is fine, because like that just allows you to kind of know who your targets are, and you kind of feel like on the flip side, like I gotta protect my TNCL player. They only have scouts and recons. What the hell, Feka?
But I was pointing to Nihilus. He subs.
Yeah, but like. What the hell? So let's see.
I'm gonna grab another beer.
Are you supposed to be able to see other players' factions, or are you only supposed to see your own? Because currently you can only see your own if you click on other people's profiles.
I haven't thought this completely through. I just I like to see the factions that people are playing, and I don't think it's a big problem if you know what factions other people's are playing. At least I don't see the problem right now. I think it's just another layer of information which would make fun,
Yeah, and also when we're talking about the profiles right now, are you not supposed to be able to go to people's stations anymore? Like if you click like under the stations tab, you cannot jump to the stations anymore from there. So how are you supposed to be able to find stations?
Can't jump to stations via player profile. I've noted it down. Thank you very much.
Yep. And also, a thing that I noticed, the industrial aspects, they're misspelled. They're only called industrial aspect.
They're all going to be renamed before launch, as well as the sector names and sector
never mind then. Just something that I found while
thank you.
going through that.
Let me see. What is this?
So maybe Fecker can show it on stream once he puts his headphones back on.
What?
Fecker, go to a profile
Yeah.
and check out the state to your own profile, or somebody else's profile actually for that matter, and click on the stations tab. Because you can't really jump to the stations anymore.
Ooh, that'd be nice. Yeah, we could do that before, right?
Check out Picked Up,
Yeah.
guys.
Yeah, picked up. Bam. Ooh. Picking it up. Alright. What is this in reference to?
You tell me.
Alright, each hex is called a zone. Okay.
Ah, combat rework.
Oh!
That's the combat system.
Oh! What? Units have zone speed.
I'm gonna be
measuring-
zooming on this shit.
Blue home sector. This is where defending station is placed. Okay, purple setup zones. Oh my god, green flank zones, battlefield zones. Please, Snoogms.
What?
This looks cool. Keep going. Don't let anyone shut you down. Don't think about alliance assaults. Just don't think about them. And this looks great.
Wait, but are you limiting attacks to 5 fleets? Or would it be up to scale for more?
I think you mistake me for somebody who answers questions.
This
Got him.
is where I come in, Mark. Yes, multiple fleets per hex. Put as many as you want in one hex. Why not? This is 100% unverified, and no one knows, but somebody has to give answers around here, so.
A map objective? Hold on.
Of course.
I added another picture for you guys.
Ooh. Seek and destroy. Default battle orders for all fleets. Fleets under S and D, self and destruct. Only attack the map objective when all enemy fleets are destroyed. Oh, so this is you're setting each of your is like tactics for your fleets that actually do things. Under seek and destroy.
Again, I think you're mistaking me for somebody who answers
I'm not.
questions.
I was asking Mark. Okay. Under seek and destroy, fleets will move up their column until they acquire a target. Once a target is acquired, fleets fight until their target is destroyed. They can then acquire a new target. I don't.
So they can switch between columns?
What in
Wait.
the hell?
So the best
Here's
way...
something that I'm looking at. It says fleets, and you attack with a collection of fleets. Is this like a rework of tactics, but based not on the entire model you send, but on a fleet level? Like, could have some fleets use seek and destroy, and other fleets in the same attack movement using some other tactic.
Right. So flipping back to this, I'm imagining you put X amount of fleets in each of these hexes, right? And then and these are the fleets, you give each like of these zones like a tactic, right? Or maybe each of the fleets in there, and they would all move up, and they start doing what you assign their tactic to be. So the search and destroy fleets would start moving out, and so maybe you have like your bombers, right? And then you have a bunch of corvettes with them that have seek and destroy, and then so your bombers are just heading for the base, and then as they're going up,
range weapons now?
your corvettes, what?
Melee weapons in space? Are you kidding me?
Yeah, there was range weapons in the last one, remember? So then you have like carriers that are obviously probably at range. Did he drop a new one? Is that why you guys said this? Oh
Yeah,
my
he
God.
dropped a new one. And hit points, shields, and damage types.
I mean, melee is just more or less a close quarters, like your boarding action, stuff like that.
Okay, commanders, we've officially become commanders. As we're gonna be commanding these fucking mini battles.
So we're introducing
Chess.
the dead zone circle into sovereign space now?
Sounds like it.
Well, how I'm imagining this goes, right, is so this is why he said you wouldn't have to be there. You set everything up and you give them all their commands, and when they
Well, I got a phone call. We'll be right back.
and when they smash into each other, they do what their commands were. Right? So like I'm gonna set all my fleets and all my commands here at the bottom row of this, right? And then they go and fight, and whoever they match just start fighting whoever was here and what they had set up.
Yeah.
And
Is that Greta calling and just stop leaking?
the FBI, sir, you leaked too much.
I'm just gonna say, I am now imagining waking up in the morning, logging on to Starborne, and watching an animated battle play out that happened like 10 hours ago, and just like watching like all of our plans play out. But then, oh no, they realized that we weren't doing a bomber run, we were doing just like a fleet clearing cap thing. So they actually send in a bunch of just like gatos that like light hit our screen, and so instead of just smashing into what they thought was like a bomber fleet, we actually traded really well. And
yeah, so like the cool thing with that, going back to like SR13 where we role played the Expanse, you have to think about it in like the Expanse universe, the time travel, the travel time of communications then, 4-hour communication from the fight to the command on planet. So same thing, you wake up in the morning, there's your 4-hour, time difference between when the fight happened, and you were able to actually send commands and be like, oh shit.
Well, not only that, but like your initial volley, like because everything's traveling at different times, like you'd fire like hours in advance, and just all of your PDCs were like just firing into space where they knew the missiles were going to be in like 3 hours, and like crazy stuff like that.
Guys, chat said it. It's fucking Starborne auto chess. Like they did Dota and League auto chesses.
Oh my!
It's a Starborne fucking auto chess.
Honestly, auto chess is a good combat mechanic for Starborne.
I actually think it would be.
I think it's great.
It's actually really great.
How did
even at base, this is wonderful because it adds like some sort of visual representation to the combat you have. Instead of just looking at a combat report, it's like, oh yes, these are good numbers.
Where are the pictures?
I'm sharing them on screen, but they're picked up. When Snoogms gets back, we ask him what his current favorite game is, and if it's Teamfight Tactics, we know why.
Assumingly, he hasn't been silenced for all of his leaks.
He said he wouldn't answer questions anyways.
Oh, silly! How did you get Snoogms to talk again?
That's my trade secret, Silly Alley. Oh, here he is. Okay, Snoogms.
We're gonna have different speeds as well, so we're gonna have lights and heavies traveling at different zone speeds.
What is your current favorite mobile game?
The only game I play on my mobile is Hearthstone.
Have you played Teamfight Tactics?
No.
Or Dota Auto Chess.
Dota Auto Chess.
Like I said, the only game I play on my Hearthstone and have ever played on my phone is Hearthstone.
Okay, on your computer you can also play these games: Dota Auto Chess or Teamfight Tactics. How favorable are you of these games?
I don't know any of them.
This is the exact same game as what you're making right here, and it's amazing, and it's going to be perfect. Investigate these video games.
All right, send me a list.
Okay, you haven't seen the auto chess genre that got really, really popular like maybe 6 months ago or so, a year? This is, so this is what we're envisioning. This is what we finally realize. It's literally...
I stopped playing League and Dota a while back, so I haven't seen these auto chess games.
So the way it works is that, if you imagine, if you've ever played like League of Legends or anything like that, each of these characters do all these different things. So what you do is you're basically doing a draft system where you're picking up characters and you're trying to level them or put items on them. But then you put them on a chessboard, and they will automatically move towards the center of the map until they get in range of someone else's units, because you're playing against each other. And then they'll go and like shoot their gun or like attack with their thing or like block and then use a special ability. And it's basically, it will just play out until all the players on one side are dead. And then it will then, you either won or lost, and you gain more currency for that, which allows you to draft better characters. And then some of those characters combine for like minor sets. Like if you have 3 warriors and your warriors get like +2 attack, or if you have like 3 guardians and all of your units get like +2 armor, stuff like that. This is kind of what that feels like.
But that stuff, it's like you're cutting that stuff out and you're creating it on your own time, right? You're not doing all this random crap. And then you're setting up your auto chess team, and then you're sending them out 4 hours away to meet whoever else's auto chess team on the other side, and then they're gonna battle. And that's what I'm getting from this. And if that's what's happening, I'll be very happy. If it's even remotely close to this.
I can neither confirm or deny your suspicions.
I know you can't. I mean, it is... I really liked the genre of game, and I just didn't really like the randomness. And it was hard to keep up with. It was very hard to keep up with the balance changes of these type of games. But with Starborne, it's the slower, more methodical version. And God,
Ooh, yeah. Okay, the flanking picture kind of confirms to me that you're using tactics on a fleet basis, not on a movement basis now.
Right.
Yeah. But also, like, how's the zone speed gonna turn out? Like, are light fleets gonna move faster? Are heavy fleets gonna move less? How are capital fleets gonna move? How are gunships gonna move in comparison? Are you even gonna use gunships in Seek and Destroy? So many questions.
I'm pretty sure gunships would exist in Seek and Destroy, and they're definitely going to be one of those that you want protected. And they're going to have the objective of literally going to the end and hitting the objective, and hopefully they get there without being attacked.
I mean, if you think about it, you would want all of your, like, let's just break this down. Let's just assume that we'll just talk carriers, decies, and gunships. Your decies are probably going to have like range 0-esque sort of thing. So they're immediately going to start just spooling up and just running towards the center of the map to fight whatever's there. And your carriers are going to sit behind because they have, like, let's say, like a range of 4. They'll move up a little bit, acquire whatever the decies are moving towards, and just start pounding into them. And the gunships are really, really slow. So they're going to be in the furthest back space, and they're just going to slowly creep forward. And you're hoping that your deci front line and your carrier back line will kill enough units so that nothing will actually be able to hit your gunships by the time they reach the center. And maybe you don't even have to kill the whole enemy fleet. Maybe they'll all be tied up with the decies enough that the gunships will just kind of keep going on,
guys,
and then hit the
He's
end.
not even released this yet.
Yeah, we're going ham on it. And then, of course, you have stuff like your HVAP rounds for your carriers and your decies. So, therefore, if they actually do make it to the station, they can actually deal the station bombing damage.
Yeah, and it could be a reason why you'd keep, like, if you were the enemies defending, like, maybe you'd put your caps on the side, or put all your caps on one side so that you're hoping to eat the deci flank on the right side, so that by that time, as they move closer to the center, they'll just eliminate all the bombers that are coming.
We don't even know how bombing works.
Don't know if any of this works at all.
That, so then it becomes a rock, paper, scissors of, do you just put all your bombers on the left side or the right side?
Giggling like a little schoolgirl.
Dude, guys, I just googled it. Hearthstone added an auto chess mode.
There we go.
They did.
Oh,
it's not.
God.
It's very weird compared to other auto chess modes.
Sure.
So it's not on a grid.
But I mean, the idea is there. It's like when
Yeah.
Gretter said he played Rise of Rise of Kingdoms, and he's like, I really want to play a game like this. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Also, bad crap in chat. Yeah, bring back offensive industrials.
God.
just go into these
Was
massive
defensive industrials, right? Have like put your indies up front and have other things attack it.
Oh, guys, you can front tank with indie fleets
Yes,
now.
that's what I'm saying. Put your range
Battle
units on your
indies.
indies.
The best.
Cheers to
meat
battle indies, boys. It's gonna be
Go
good.
back to Detroit to pick dump and look at the last two that Snoogms just posted about flanking and advance and objective.
Oh no.
Based on that, all fleets would have melee and ranged.
Well, yeah. I mean, all things swap range. Fleets can only enter flank things.
I mean, think about it. What if you could then have another dimension of cards that unlock how they behave in combat? So instead of just like bonus firepower, bonus health, you now be like, all right, all of my carriers are ranged, which have less damage, and less health and more damage, or I could just frontline my carriers with HP, and as a result, they're going to just have melee. You add in a whole another dimension
You
of
just said
carding
ding,
you
ding,
can
ding,
do to
ding.
your game.
You frontline with light ships.
I'm gonna make sound effects.
You frontline with light ships because they're cheap and expendable. You backline with capital ships maxed out firepower.
But you're not even thinking about this though. You could technically have a player who specifically cards some of his fleets for melee, and all the rest of his light fleets are carded for ranged attack. So you know that one player is going to now hit and tie up every fleet they have, and then the backline lights are just going to hit as many of those lights as possible. And then you're hoping that will just overwhelm them before they can get to the majority of your lights. Like, it adds like so many extra layers of tactics.
Yeah.
Like, it adds a whole meta variable that can constantly be changed based on player interaction.
This
Yeah,
is 100%
sounds like
a
everything
wonderful
else.
framework. I'm really glad this is the direction.
He hasn't even confirmed it's the direction we've just gone on.
He showed us a great.
The only thing he dinged on was the fact that we had to give extra cards based around these new things. But yeah, that's it.
But I mean, you have to look at it this way. If the goal is to add more dimensions to combat, we can all pretty much agree that combat is very one-dimensional. It's a stat block. Any additional dimensions to that are welcome.
Oh yeah,
And this is really cool.
I think this is good. Even if it's anything, I agree, because I don't like the notion that a lot of times what we say all the time is what alliance can produce the most capital ships, and we say that all the time, right? And that might be a little bit of an oversimplification, but realistically, who can fleet up the most capital ships and send them yeeking into the enemy?
It's not even the capital ships. At a certain point, as the industrial person, if we hit an industrial benchmark, we basically say, stop building destroyers, build frigates, because frigates have a better stat block return.
Yeah.
And they're more expensive. So if you can make them and make them at a rate that's comparable to destroyers, then you would never make destroyers unless you're specifically trying to feed a Gatos person. And usually they're pretty self-sufficient at just building and yeeting, because, I guess Nihilus does that.
Right.
So if you add that extra dimension, it opens up the possibility of using fleets in ways that, you couldn't even imagine. Could you imagine if you could add in, scouts onto an attack because they could sabotage, add disruption to the field, or, null zones where, it would cause, some of the fleets to go in wayward directions because they can't tell what's in the center of the map? Who would ever thought of bringing scouts into, not that this is, but,
So here's another one for both scouts and recons, and it'll throw another wing into this. Stealth.
Do you think all units would be able to flank, or only light units could be in flanking? Period. Can heavy fleets not
also,
flank?
Stealth values apply on the field. Could you actually have units stealth on the field like that or not?
Do you think these three things he put out, hit point, shields, and damage types, are three different types of cards you would have put on a?
He put out another one just now.
Look here to me. I'm clicking, so guys, I'm clicking. Oh look, and then the battle zones will be different, so you can't just put the same, there's not just an I win strat, right? But will we know the battlefield ahead of time? When you attack somewhere?
So, I'm assuming...
I like that last line, OMG LOL, I hit my missile battery in an asteroid field.
Oh, what the fuck?
Can we scout the battlefield ahead of time?
When you go to attack, does the battle... I'm assuming the battlefield comes up when you go to attack.
This conversation is incredibly satisfying, guys.
I mean, I'd assume the battlefield is the hexes around the station.
Yeah, but you're assuming something.
The blue hexes are the targets.
Yeah. You start at one blue hex. They start at the other blue hex. Your fleets are moving towards the other blue hex. The fields could maybe have something to do with that. I'm guessing when you set your attack, right? You go to attack someone. The thing comes up. You set your fleets based off of what this is. You send them, and you check back in the morning, and you watch this amazing replay.
Because I'm assuming that what would happen is that you're just in the same that we have a default configuration for our we are always in turtle mode. You always start in turtle mode. So in the same way, if you don't mess with something, there's probably a default configuration where starting in the center, you have your first ship, and then it goes left, right, left, right, left, right. Boom, that's what's on the station. And you can choose to tailor that if you are a more in-depth player, if you know what you're doing, or if you're aware that you might be attacked. I'm assuming, so that's what you are aware of. You are aware of what your defensive row is. But if you go to attack, probably what happens is you will say, I want to attack this player. The game will then note where you're attacking from and what your target is, and then present you with this chess map. When you're on the defensive, you only see your half of the chess map that's defensive to you. But then when you attack, you are then exposed to you actually might even see this. Depending on what you play, the defender might see the entirety of the map. And then when you go to attack, you will then
Who's on a respirator?
What?
Oh, that's Hohenheim.
Yeah, sorry. Side tangent. We have a enriched oxygen producer machine, and it sounds like Darth Vader. My apologies. I'll close the door.
But so going on real fast, because that also brings up the question. I mean, so missile batteries, if they only occupy like a certain number of hexes on that battlefield, is it possible to get past them if they're on like the side? Then also it introduces the lovely logistics hub. And there's a text message. So yeah, the logistics hub. How would that interface with this battlefield?
Those might be the flanks.
Yeah, good.
Flanking could be tied to logistics hubs.
Also going back to that picture with I had my missile battery hidden in the asteroid field. It brings in, like I said, the stealth. If you did not probe the area to see the logistics hub or probe their area to see the missile battery, you probably wouldn't see it on the preview battle map until, guess what, it just wrecked your face. So you want to probe to get the vision to know there's a logistics hub there and where it's going to be on the map and where that missile battery would be on the map.
I mean, that also adds a whole nother dimension to hot swapping your missile battery.
Oh God, yeah, yes.
So,
Like that adds a whole other dimension. It's not just like, oh, well, I hot swapped my missile battery, so now I have the flat damage. Like you could say, oh, they're attacking. It's like, well, I've obviously put my missile battery in the place where, of course, if someone attacked me, they would avoid it and go this direction. So now I'll hot swap it to the other place and rearrange my fleets so that they're just going to like just truck into this thing and take way more damage, and then I'll be able to like flank around and do interesting things to them. It also adds to the question of like if you were doing alliance assaults, if you would have a primary attacker, if you could set a primary attacker and then alliance assaults is how you would get flanking, because then additional people would come in, or if they were all part of the initial, we reached here, it's time for battle, we're going to go and do this engagement.
well, I mean, like, Alliance Assault, I think you could just do normally anyways, right? Just more fleets, right? Because, like, as a solo player, you can get more fleets in an attack than you can in Alliance Assault. I think Alliance Assault, you would probably... So the person that creates the Alliance Assault, every time you add fleets to it, you would be putting your fleets on there, right? And then now I'm adding next, and I'm putting my fleets on there, and you're bitching at the first person, like, get in there, rearrange your shit, because I'm going there to that spot. You need to move your guys over there to that spot.
To be able to stack fleets on hexes in this, given there's only 36 hexes on that grid.
Yeah, you're going to be able to, but you're going to be like, no, that's a dumb idea. Like, there's going to be, like, literally commanders that are really, really good at this part of the game. You know, it's like a new aspect of the game that, like, I know how this kind of stuff works. I know how the auto battler, like, the algorithms for how they go which way and what the best output is. And there's going to be some players that are just like, just let me put my ships in there and like let them fight, you know, and you're going to have that difference again. And I think this is going to be cool.
There's a whole other interesting dimension to this, which is this may or may not, but probably will also apply to raiding. Now, like, you don't just get to AFK a bunch, raid a bunch of people. Like, you actually have to be cognizant of, like, hey, if I need to clear some AFK guy's fleet, like, maybe more than likely they're just in this default configuration, which makes it easier to raid them, but also means that if you're trying to raid someone for resources, there could just be a whole thing where, like, if you're trying to raid the more advanced NPCs, you could technically maybe get an edge against them if you know how they're configured, because you could outsmart them in this way. If this applies to raiding, which it might actually just be an assault.
I'm quite sure it does, because in the picture that's advanced on objective, it says in the bottom line, the map objective depends on the movement type or the PvE scenario players are engaged in.
Oh god. Yeah, so there's probably scenarios that you can actually go, they said they want to encourage PvE. I mean, you're going to have some mean scenarios, and like there is probably optimal ways, or maybe a handful of different like strategies.
Think of all the ways we can inject lore into those.
Yeah.
Also, how are gonna factions play into that? Like, are MPL players all of a sudden gonna be people who are also attack to use on the front line for melee, and are you gonna use Zayog on the flanking aspect to run behind the enemy and then attack from behind? How is that going
to be the strongest?
Play in?
How does Gatos tie into this?
You just run him down the middle.
You do a default layout, you just do as many Corvettes as you can spam in there. That would be so. It would be so fun to watch a Gatos attack. Like if you could share the video with people.
I mean, that gets back into it though, where it's like if you do a Gatos attack, and you it also then depends on how you card, because as a defense, you could then card a couple brick ships to be melee and to rush out and try to intercept them, and then have like the majority of your ships then stationed to just be ranged offense, just like pound away at them from like a distance, which might mitigate just like the flat, like we're just coming at you, low HP, high damage. So that high damage will hit the brick tank a little bit, and then the backline will just pop a crazy amount of them before they get through the brick tank. So Gatosing might actually be like a thing where it might not actually be as effective.
If you're prepared for it, right? You can literally prepare a defense. Like, I know I'm getting Gatos soon. Like, where Nihilus is spam attacking their alliance station. And they're like, we know it's going to happen, so let's do a Gatos defense. You know, something that's more optimal when I'm getting Gatos. And then change it when you know a real attack is coming. And then now we're faking Gatos attacks to hopefully you bait Gatos, and then we're coming in with like an actual attack that devastates your Gatos defense, more so than it would have been if you did a real defense.
Yeah,
there's so many aspects to this.
I love it based on the fact that it's not just doing rock, paper, scissors.
Yep.
It is interesting to figure out like if this means we move away from the 3 rounds of combat, or if the 3 rounds of combat is baked into this.
I had that snooked, right? Like the whole thing. What do you think?
So, guys,
it seems obsolete.
I love the ideas and the conversation. It's important that we keep in mind this is still in early prototype stages. Nothing there is definitive. We have
sure.
There's a lot of problems we have to solve first, but I at least enjoy that you guys are excited about this.
We're just trying to figure out how to break it before it even is released.
Wait, this isn't coming out October 1st?
I mean, like, I think that I wouldn't say that we're trying to necessarily break it. It's, part of the fun of getting into, like, I am a Magic the Gathering player, so, you can take your Hearthstone and but, like, part of the fun of every new set they release is just, like, you are trying to understand how the system works with all the tools that you're familiar with. You have because you have all the same features. So, like, no matter what, we're assuming we're going to have ships. There's going to be some sort of combat, and it's going to play out in some way where there is some strategy involved. So even though all of this could be changed, like the core concept is that there is much more depth in the concept, and it's in a way that has a vibrance that we didn't, it's hard to imagine what the possibilities could be until you see like a rough blueprint like this. And I'm excited for it.
Yeah, we are too. It's a lot of fun working on this, and there's definitely inspiration from several games that shall remain anonymous for now.
Auto battlers. Please.
Honestly, I've never played any auto battler. That's the auto chess thing you're talking about, right?
Yeah. It's wildly popular.
Give it a whirl. It's pretty fun.
It's really good, and you might see what we're talking about. I think it could work. Like, finally, let's not reinvent the wheel. Like, there's a genre that works really well, and I think it ties in. I mean, this blows my mind. I mean,
what I'm hearing is that after you're done making this combat system, you should release a small mobile game called Starborne Team Fight Tactics.
Yeah.
Make that zone just a one hex battle.
If you guys come out with that on mobile before you come out with this game on fucking mobile, I will lose my mind. Sovereign Space never gets a mobile adaptation, but hey guys, it came out with Team Fight Starborne Tactics.
Alright guys, I'm gonna leave you. Thank you so much for hosting me. I'm gonna go home and hug my girls.
Yeah, man.
Have fun.
Guys.
Anytime you need to drop some spoilers, we're here. Have a good one, man. Thank you. Bye.